Hola, ¿qué tal? Soy Matías Rebolledo i estamos aquí en Kinótico, en la 58a edició del Festival de Cinema Fantástica de Cataluña, el Festival de Sitges. Estamos aquí en este set audiovisual patrocinado por Repsol y con la colaboración de la SCAC. Hoy recibimos con toda la energía. We have today here in our set Mr. Director, Michael Shanks. Thank you for being here. Welcome.
Hey, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
First of all, thank you for your time. You're here with Together. What a ride of a film. I had the chance to see it beforehand, before the festival. So it's kind of an obvious one, but I wanted to ask you, how and when did you start to work on the film?
I think I wrote the first draft of the script something like 7 years ago.
Wow.
So it was a long time ago. And the idea really came from my own life, the fact that I've been in a relationship by now almost 17 years. And, when I kind of moved in with my partner, I sort of started to think about the fact that we have all the same friends. We live in the same house. We breathe the same air. I don't know that we are living individual lives. We now kind of are sharing a life. And I thought, what if you kind of took kind of those fears of intimacy, fears of commitment, and not knowing where kind of one of you ends and the other begins, and just kind of pushed it further. So you weren't just sharing a life, you started to share flesh, share blood, share a body. And I thought that was fun. And it allowed me to kind of write a story that was just filled with kind of stuff from my own life, my own personal fears and my own shortcomings as a partner, and kind of put that into this film.
Ever since the movie premiere in the South by Southwest, if I'm not mistaken?
It premiered at Sundance first, and then played South by.
The conversation around was like big in internet. People were talking all about it. Were you prepared to that when you were filming it?
No, I mean, I was always pretty confident in the film. I really liked, I was proud of the script. And then when Dave and Alison came on board, I couldn't have asked for better actors for it. And just every member of the crew was so talented, but still nothing prepared me for just how good the response has been. I mean, we were on 100% on Rotten Tomatoes for almost a year. Just like every single, review would come out and it was positive. And watching it with an audience, it's such a crowd-pleasing film. And that was that very first screening at Sundance. The first time there was a scary moment, you could hear everybody gasp. And the first time there was kind of a joke, everybody sort of laughed. And I thought, oh, this is working insanely well.
I wanted to ask you about Dave and Alison. How did it come up on board? How did you manage to build a relationship that's already built? So how was that?
It was incredible. I mean, when I got the call from my agent that they wanted to do the film, I couldn't believe that they said yes. I'd met Dave sort of about a different project. There was another script that I'd written that was on a thing called The Blacklist, and because of that, suddenly my name was being thrown around kind of Hollywood circles, I suppose.
Yeah.
And through that, I got a sort of chance meeting with Dave, and we just really got on. I really liked him, and we bonded over our shared love of horror. And I just sort of said like, hey, I know we're talking about this other script, but I've got this horror that I've written. Would you mind if I sent it to you to see what you think? And then, 2 days later, he and Alison were on board. It was unbelievable. And the building of the relationship in the script really kind of came from my own relationship, as said, but a lot of it was kind of fears as to who I was worried I was as a partner. So the character of Tim is very much a version of me, but a sort of self-deprecating version of me. It's kind of got all my worst qualities and none of my incredible qualities.
I hope so.
Yeah. But, it's a kind of a story about a guy who sort of is insecure about, giving himself over to this relationship because he has these lofty ambitions of wanting to be a music maker, and he's, getting too old for it. And hopefully by the end realizing that the ultimate dream that can come true is to find somebody that you fully embrace and fully love. And having Dave and Alison play those characters, because when we meet these characters, they've been together for about 10 years or something like that, and to have these actors that are not only in a relationship but are married and have been for a long time, they brought this history and this reality to it that we didn't need to like find chemistry between them. It was just there from day one.
Sorry if I'm overstepping here, but what did your partner think about the movie?
Well, I'm happy to say she loves it. But when I first had the idea, I told her like, hey, I think I'm going to write this. And she said, that's pretty upsetting, but it's a good idea. You should write it. And I've got to give her credit. I think the best scene in the movie is a scene that takes place in a bathroom stall, and that was her idea. So she was fully on board, which is great.
For me, it was Valiant, but
Yeah,
it's a great scene. I wanted to ask you about body horror without making too many spoilers. The movie deals with that, and I wanted to ask you, how did you approach that in order to get the effects right, in order to get the very look of it that it's very scary.
Yeah, I love body horror. I'm really psyched that I got to meet Barbara Crampton yesterday, who was like a body
She
horror
was
icon.
right here 10 minutes ago.
I know. I can't believe it. I didn't know she was going to be at this festival, and I was literally talking to Chris Stuckman. I said something about like, something like Barbara Crampton, and then she just walked by. I was like, what the heck? It's like I summoned her. But I love body horror. This movie has a lot of comedy in it, but I didn't want any of the body horror to be ironic. Like I feel as though a lot of modern body horror is paying homage to the kind of heyday of body horror, which is like the 80s, but they do it in a sort of like ironic, sort of sarcastic way, which can be fun. But I wanted to kind of go in a different way, whereby body horror traditionally has been very kind of gooey and silly. I wanted this to feel kind of dry and crackly. That was a direction I was giving to the prosthetics people and the effects people and the sound design team. And in order to, I just wanted the body horror to kind of be taking itself seriously. And then for the comedy in the movie, it sort of comes from our character's reaction to this as though it's real. We use practical effects for basically every single body horror gag in the film, except for the huge moments of transformation, which I think you can understand why we weren't able to do prosthetics. But I think that both our practical and visual effects teams did amazing work on the film. And I'm a visual effects artist myself, and so to see what Frame Store were able to do with the big CGI moments where we had full body scans of our actors and digital doubles, just visual effects power I've never had access to. It was so cool.
Speaking about going in a different direction, the movie deals also with this kind of culty vibes, and it's not as one can expect. It's a whole different thing. So I wanted to ask you about that, not going into this kind of internet-based culty vibes. It was like folk horror. So I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, that was definitely, I was thinking of folk horror. I took one of the producers to see this movie called Woods Dark and Days Bewitched or something, which is like a 4-hour, like exhaustive catalog of folk horror in preparation for this. But yeah, there is sort of a folk horror kind of culty element around the sort of periphery of the film that we kind of explain it to the audience enough, but I didn't want to get too bogged down in just a huge exposition dump. So we kind of see enough to kind of understand what's going on without kind of stopping the movie and saying, okay, here is all the lore. So yeah, I'm really proud of it though. I think it kind of elevates that element of the film of having a bit of lore, a bit of mythology to it. Just kind of hopefully the audience sees that a bit more thought went into it than it just being, I don't know, some spooky thing.
Pues please stay with me for one last question. Vamos con la última pregunta porque os recordamos que las energías de Repsol mueven el Festival de Sitges. Por segundo año Repsol está presente, no solo aportando sus soluciones energéticas, sino ofreciendo estas experiencias para que el público lo pase de miedo. I'm talking that I'm speaking about Repsol, which is helping us getting people the chills, getting people frightened. So I wanted to ask you, what was your very first horror memory?
My first horror memory, and these aren't necessarily classic films, but I just watched them when I was too young. My older brother showed me these films, and Scream 2 was one. Actually, that is a classic film. I love that movie. But just the opening scene where the guy gets stabbed in the head through the toilet stall, that really freaked me out. I was way too young for that. And then I couldn't walk past a Halloween store and see that Scream mask. It kind of freaks me out, even though it's kind of a pastiche itself. And the other one was Halloween H2O, which I've never seen the full movie, but as a kid, my brother made me watch the opening scene, and there's a bit where they go back inside the house, and I think it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt is killed with an ice skate through the face, and that really freaked me out. And then I had nightmares for weeks after that. I was just far too young to have seen it.
Well, sir, thank you for your time, and
pleasure.
let's hope the best for the film.
Thank you so much. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Yeah, okay.
That was right. Nosotros, ya sabéis, vamos a seguir aquí en el Festival de Sitges, en este set audiovisual de Kinótico patrocinado por Repsol en colaboración con la SCAC. Todo lo que pase aquí en el Festival de Sitges en kinótico.es, la primera con K, la segunda con C.